Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren. I'm a tarot reader and a Reiki practitioner. I'm also a collage artist. And today I want to do a general reading for anyone who finds this video. I'd also like it to serve as an example for what you would receive if you book a tarot reading with me. This setup and structure is exactly how I do my tarot readings for my clients. I do it in video form, so you will receive a video, but it will be an unlisted video, so you're the only one who will be able to see it. So yeah, let's get into it. Tonight I'm just going to do a general reading for anyone who happens to come across this video whenever you happen to come across it. Tonight I'm using the Dreaming Way Tarot. One more shuffle. I usually just cleanse the space with a little bit of sage beforehand, before I start the reading. I have Nag Champa burning over here. I'm just rubbing a little bit of indigo child oil into my third eye, as well as my throat chakra. I was done shuffling, but must have needed a couple more. I didn't even think about it. I just started shuffling, so I must have needed some more shuffles here. All right. Okay, let's see what kind of messages we have for you tonight. We've got the Empress, followed by the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Lovers. Okay. Bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Cups. So earth, the earth of water. Things can get a little muddy emotionally, especially in the realm of like being a little bit immature about something that can cause a little bit of a mess. So just be cognizant of that. Okay, let me take a look here. I do notice the two knights first off. They're going away from each other. We've got two major arcana, the 3 and the 6. the Empress and the Lovers, significant at the beginning and the end. And then we've got Wands. We've got 2 Wands. Looks like we're missing Cups in the reading. There was a cup on the bottom of the deck there, so I think we're good balance-wise. Maybe need to add a little bit of that water energy in here just to balance it out. Okay, I'm just going to tune in here for just a second, see what comes to me, and then I'll let you know the messages that are coming through. Okay, we're going to start here with the Empress, the very first card that was chosen. Now, the Empress is the mother of the tarot. The Empress is the creatrix, right? She's birthing things into the world. She's creating. And then with the following 2 cards being the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands, now these are our 2 fastest knights. In the way that I read tarot, when I see knights in tarot, it's kind of a timing card for me, like how quickly are things going, right? These 2 are the fastest. Now, if you look at these 2 cards, they're going opposite directions, right? One's going left, one's going right. Both very, very quickly going 2 different directions. So it makes me think that, with the Empress here, there is this creative energy happening, and you're coming up with different ideas, and you're actually coming up with different, physical manifestations of your ideas, but you're going in 2 different directions really, really fast. So I think it would be beneficial to really kind of hone in on what it exactly is that you're trying to accomplish and what you want to put your energy into, and just go one way really fast. That doesn't mean that you can never go with the other idea or you can't ever do it in the future, but doing both full bore at once may be a little bit trying, and it could be it just could be a little bit too much for you, especially because they're going in different directions. So I don't know if maybe there's someone that has like 2 different things going on that are like in 2 completely different realms, maybe one spiritual and one career wise. I think that it's better if you I think what the message is that it's better if you put your energy into one or the other right now instead of going full bore at both. Maybe slow your clip a little bit on one side rather than the other. Now with the Wands and the Swords, so I'm seeing that one of these things is more intellectual, like maybe school or writing, or something that is very intellectual, using your mind, using your brain, being in your thoughts. And then with the Wands, that's something a little bit more passionate, maybe spiritual, maybe even work related. So I think not that you need to quit one completely, but just slow one down a little bit so that you're not going so fast in 2 different directions. But it makes me think with the Empress that it is like they're creative endeavors. So it's not really so much like something that you have to do in order to survive. It's more of a It's more stretching your creative muscles. So it's outside of the realm of your everyday. And then with this bottom portion here, we've got 2 6s. And 6s to me are a very nostalgic kind of vibe, a very past vibe. And then the 9 of Pentacles. So the 9 of Pentacles to me is a very independent person, somebody who is standing very prominently on their own 2 feet. Six of Wands is victory, independence, and then we've got here the Lovers. I mean, some traditionally it could be a choice, it could be partnership, duality. Give me a moment here. So I don't know, this is a very specific message, so it may not be for everyone. So like, you know, people say, and like you should do anyways, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. But I'm seeing here a storyline of like being victorious, like you have mastered, you are victorious in your independence. You have done that. You have proven that you can stand on your own 2 feet and that you can make it work and that you can do that. But there may be an opportunity here for you to not be independent, and it may be a very good idea. And of course, you know, falling in love is never a choice, but whether or not you even look for love could be a choice. But so if that's something that is like, nope, that's off the table, well then, you know, obviously this message isn't for you. But I do see a little bit of a, like, you've just going off of something that I went through at one point in my life, after divorcing. I told myself, you're going to be single for 2 full years before you even talk to another person as far as like trying to be in a relationship. And so I did that. I did it. I was able to, you know, focus on myself. Not that, you know, it was always good. Not that it was always healthy focus on myself. You know, there was a lot of go home and, you know, wallow or have the TV on all night because you can't be by yourself and you don't know what to do with yourself. But, you know, you work through that and then you get to a point where it's like, oh yeah, this is easy. This is good. I'm winning. I'm winning at being by myself. I'm winning at being independent and providing for myself, and I don't need anybody else. But then, you know, you've got the Lovers, which is a partnership, which is, you know, the decision of whether or not you want to maybe walk into that. And then in a completely, you know, more looking at the images here, you know, this could be, depending on who you are and what your preference is, obviously, but it could be a throuple type of a situation if you're poly. So I'm just trying to look and see if there's any more messages here. One thing I will say about the way that I read tarot, I read in a couple of different ways. I do keep in mind the traditional meanings of the cards, but I do have a relationship with these cards that, you know, if certain things pop up in a certain, not necessarily you know, place on here because I don't have spread placements so much in this spread. I just put out 6 cards and read them intuitively however I feel like, you know, they are, unless beforehand I might say like, these 2 are what you need to do now, these are what you should think about doing, and these are what you need to do in the future, or something like that. I might do that before I lay the cards down. But normally I just lay out the 6 cards and there's no placements as far as spreads go. So I like to look at the pictures and read them logically, as far as like directions, what's going on in the cards, how they're standing, who they're looking at, how they're holding their hands, if they're leaning on somebody, if they're holding hands with somebody. Like in this instance, that's why I said, you know, it might be a polyamorous type of a situation. You know, so if you are poly and you are coming out of something and proving to yourself that you can be independent, and now you're kind of on the fence whether or not you are looking for something, this may be your sign that, you know, yeah, that's coming up for you, or yeah, that's something that you should look into, or, you know, you're ready. But and then, you know, I read very intuitively, so if, even though the Empress traditionally might mean mother, sometimes, you know, to me, she just means, you know, being creative or birthing something into the world. It could be somebody writing a book. It could be somebody painting a picture. It could be somebody, you know, who is a, you know, has just eaten a really big meal and shouldn't have. Like, you know, that's silly, but just the way she's standing, like holding her stomach with her eyes closed, like, oh God, I shouldn't have ate that last Twinkie or whatever. Like, sometimes that kind of thing comes through. Or if 2, you know, cards look like they're fighting with each other, or look like they're playing baseball, or look like they're, you know, then I'll say that, like, you might, you know, want to maybe go bowling. That might be something cathartic for you to do, or whatever. I'm kind of getting out there a little bit, but you know what I mean. Like, I like to look at the pictures. I like the traditional meanings. I like the meanings that I give the cards, and I also like the meanings that just come through, you know, out of nowhere. Like, I might look at him and think, gosh, you know, he kind of looks like Timothée Chalamet, and stuff, you know, and then rope it back to a role that he played or something, and then say, well, you know, this is what that character did, and that's what, you know. So I don't put myself in a box as far as how I read tarot. But yeah, so just as an example, this is kind of what you can expect from a reading from me. Now, normally, when I read for clients, I don't typically like to do general readings, because it's hard for me to get in there and really get a lot of meat off the bone. If I have a direction in which to go, like if you're wondering about your career, or if you're wondering about your, you know, you're going through something, you're healing from something, and you'd like advice about what to do next, or you'd like to know like what the next best steps are going forward from your divorce, or, you know, anything like that. I do have a tarot kind of intake form, for lack of a better word, that I send to you when you book a reading, that has you fill out some questions as far as giving me some information on the situation that you're in, so that I can give you a little bit more context to the cards that come up. And the way that I read the cards, because I don't know my sitters personally most of the time, you know, it's up to my interpretation. So I will tell you what I'm seeing. By all means, if you see something completely different, go with that. For sure, go with that. Because what I'm seeing and saying is just from my perspective. Now, you may have a little bit of a skewed view of things when it comes to yourself. I know personally, I don't read for myself very often, if at all, because I can't turn off what I want to see in the cards. So it's difficult for me to read for myself. So I have some people that I go to for tarot readings. I don't get them very often, not nearly as much as I would like to, because, you know, I'm not I'm trying to reel in my spending. But I've got one lady here in town that I go to, and then I've also got an online witch who does tarot readings that I go to once every 2 or 3 years. So you know, keep that in mind when you're looking at the cards, as opposed to what I'm saying, what you're seeing. You know, just keep that in mind, that it might be just a little bit of a skewed read because you're the one involved in the situation. But other than that, yeah, my readings are usually around 30 minutes long if I have a question to go off of. General readings tend to last about 15 to 20 minutes, just because, you know, without context, I don't, you know, vague questions make for vague readings. So I don't typically like to do general readings. But this is your general reading if you have found my channel and decided to click on. And I hope that you will consider booking a reading with me in the future, a personal reading. Right now, at the time of recording, and this might change, will probably change within the next, I don't know, 6 months or so. But as of the time of this recording, I am doing all of my readings on a donation basis, because I'm trying to get some readings under my belt and build my clientele back up. So I just do a pay what you can. If you can't afford to pay anything, that is completely fine. I'm basically doing readings for free for reviews. So yeah, I hope you consider getting a personal reading from me, and I will put my information down below where you can go to book your reading. At the moment, I'm only reading on Thursday nights, but it's always worth it to reach out if, you know, you'd like a reading any other day, because if I'm just sitting around doing nothing, I may hop on and do a reading for you. I may have time to do that on any particular night. I do work 2 jobs, so on top of being a tarot reader. So yeah, so much love to you, and I hope you found this reading helpful. Thank you so much for watching.